I am Iron Man. I held the false notion that I could operate on two tracks and run them both at the same time and neither would suffer.
Today, we're diving into the epic roller coaster that is the life of Robert Downey Jr., the man, the myth, the legend who went from Hollywood's bad boy to the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Walkway to get to port.
Watch out, Robert.
If you think you know RDJ's story, trust me, there's so much more to unpack.
Pretty much exhausted, I think, the rehabilitative measures that we can make here. I believe you can do pretty much anything you want to do.
From his wild early days to his jaw-dropping comeback as Iron Man, and now an Oscar winner, yeah, we're covering it all. Robert Downey Jr. was born on April 4, 1965, in New York City, right in the heart of the entertainment world. His dad, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground filmmaker known for quirky, counterculture movies like Pound, where, fun fact, a 5-year-old RDJ made his acting debut.
Yeah, the first film I was in, my father got a grant to do this movie called Pound, which is about dogs in a pound.
Imagine being a kindergartner and already on the big screen.
Have any hair on your bowl?
But growing up in the Downey household wasn't exactly a fairy tale. RDJ's childhood was steeped in the artsy, chaotic vibe of the 60s and 70s New York scene. His dad's films often explored edgy themes, and young Robert was exposed to a world of creativity and, unfortunately, drugs at a super young age. By his own admission, RDJ was using marijuana by age 6, handed to him by his father.
Didn't your father introduce you to drugs?
Yeah, I was probably 8, 9, 10.
That's wild to think about, right? It wasn't uncommon back then for some bohemian parents to see drugs as just part of the free spirit lifestyle, but it set the stage for some serious struggles later. RDJ has said in interviews that his dad thought it was a bonding experience, but looking back, it was a slippery slope. This early exposure planted seeds for the addiction issues that would haunt him for years. As a teen, RDJ moved to Hollywood, chasing the dream. He was a natural, charismatic, quick-witted, and insanely talented. In the 80s, he landed roles in films like Tough Turf and Weird Science, where he played that snarky, lovable jerk we all kinda rooted for. If you've seen Weird Science, you know RDJ is Ian, the bully with a heart. Fun fact, he was almost cast as Ducky in Pretty in Pink, but the role went to John Cryer. Still, RDJ was making waves, rubbing elbows with the Brat Pack, think Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, and even lived with Sarah Jessica Parker, his girlfriend at the time. They were like the ultimate 80s power couple.
Art is not produced in a vacuum. Beauty cannot be regulated by the state. Music is a reflection of our culture. Today, our own government is trying to tell you what you should and shouldn't pop into your tape deck. But there's a way out of the vacuum. If you get to the polls on November 6th, then exercise your...
It's your turn to speak. Your vote is your voice.
But it was his role in Less Than Zero in 1987 that really put him on the map. Playing Julian Wells, a rich kid spiraling into drug addiction, RDJ delivered a performance so raw, it felt like he wasn't acting. Critics raved, calling him a generational talent, but the role hit too close to home. RDJ later said playing Julian was like looking in a mirror, and it amplified his own struggles with substance abuse.
I think Julian's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there was some concern because
The 80s were a whirlwind of fame, parties, and excess, and RDJ was caught in the storm. By the early 90s, RDJ was a rising star, but his personal life was unraveling. His addiction to drugs, cocaine, heroin, you name it, was spiraling out of control. In 1992, he scored a massive role as Charlie Chaplin in Chaplin, directed by Richard Attenborough. This wasn't just any role. RDJ had to portray the iconic tramp across decades, from a young dreamer to an aging legend. He threw himself into it, mastering Chaplin's physicality and those soulful, sad eyes. The performance earned him his first Oscar nomination and a BAFTA win. Critics were like, "This guy's the real deal." But off-screen? Total chaos. Between 1996 and 2001, RDJ's life was a tabloid nightmare. Arrests, rehab stints, and relapses made headlines. He was in and out of jail, including a 3-year sentence in 1999 for drug-related charges, though he served about 15 months.
Rehab is stemming from several drug and weapons arrests, but a judge sent him back. A year later, he skipped a court-ordered drug test and spent the next 4 months in the LA County Jail.
One infamous story? He wandered into a neighbor's house in Malibu, high out of his mind, and passed out in their kid's bed. Yeah, it was that bad. RDJ himself has called this period his rock bottom, saying he was a mess, but a functioning mess. Hollywood started to give up on him. Directors like Woody Allen wanted to cast him, but insurance companies wouldn't bond him because he was too risky.
These days, do you find that people are not quite sure how to approach you?
And I heard that, like, when you do movies, you essentially almost have to work for free because the insurance bond is so high.
In fact, he was so unreliable, he couldn't find work.
So if you want to work with me, handle the insurance first. I think they're just a little worried that I might, put a shiv in them or something.
By 2001, things hit a breaking point. RDJ was fired from Ally McBeal, a hit TV show where he was killing it as a romantic lead. The producers loved him, but his relapses made him unreliable. He later said, "I was so far gone, I didn't even care. It was a wake-up call, but the comeback was still years away." By 2003, RDJ was trying to rebuild. He got sober, thanks to a mix of rehab, therapy, and a new love, Susan Levin, a producer he met on the set of Gothica. She became his rock, and they married in 2005. Susan wasn't just his partner, she was his cheerleader.
Nice guy. He makes me laugh like no one can.
Pushing him to take on roles that would show the world he was back. RDJ also credits things like meditation, martial arts, and a burger from Burger King. Yep, true story, he says it was a life-changing moment for helping him get clean. Then came Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in 2005, a quirky noir comedy with Val Kilmer. It wasn't a box office hit, but critics loved RDJ's fast-talking, lovable conman. It was like Hollywood was saying, okay, maybe this guy's still got it. But the real game changer? Iron Man in 2008. Director Jon Favreau fought to cast RDJ as Tony Stark, even when Marvel was skeptical because of his past. Favreau saw something in RDJ, a mix of charm, wit, and vulnerability that screamed Tony Stark. That iconic line, "I am Iron Man," improvised by RDJ. He didn't just play Tony Stark, he was Tony Stark. The parallels were uncanny, both were brilliant, flawed, and fighting their demons. RDJ's performance wasn't just a comeback, it launched the MCU, a franchise that's grossed over $30 billion. From the Avengers to Avengers, Endgame, RDJ's Tony Stark became the heart of the MCU. His improv skills shone through, like the shawarma scene in The Avengers, which he suggested on set, or the "please be a secret door" line in Age of Ultron. RDJ's improv wasn't just for laughs. His real-life friendship with Jude Law made their Sherlock Holmes chemistry electric. He won a Golden Globe for Sherlock in 2009, proving he could dominate outside the MCU too. And let's not forget Tropic Thunder, where he played Kirk Lazarus, a method actor so ridiculous he undergoes a pigmentation procedure to play a black soldier. It was risky, but RDJ and Ben Stiller played it as satire, earning him another Oscar nod. Love it or hate it, you can't deny RDJ's commitment. By the 2010s, RDJ was Hollywood's highest-paid actor, raking in millions per film. From 2013 to 2015, Forbes had him at the top of their list. He wasn't just a star, he was a cultural phenomenon. But he didn't stop there. RDJ and Susan started Team Downey, their production company, to tell stories they believed in, like The Judge in 2014, where he starred opposite Robert Duvall. In 2019, RDJ wrapped up his MCU journey with Avengers: Endgame. That final "I am Iron Man" line? It wasn't just a callback, it was RDJ saying goodbye to Tony Stark, a role that defined a decade of his life. Fans cried, theaters erupted, and RDJ cemented his legacy. But he wasn't done acting. In 2020, he took a risk with Dolittle, playing the eccentric doctor who talks to animals. Okay, it wasn't a hit, critics called it a mess, but RDJ's commitment to the role, complete with a Welsh accent he practiced with his farm animals at home, showed he's not afraid to take chances. Then came Oppenheimer in 2023, directed by Christopher Nolan. RDJ played Rear Admiral Lewis Strauss, a complex, morally gray figure in the atomic bomb saga. It was a departure from his flashy Tony Stark persona, subtle, intense, and layered. He read the script on Nolan's infamous red paper, yep, it's a thing to prevent leaks, and knew he had to do it. The role earned him his first Oscar win for Best Supporting Actor, proving at 58, RDJ was still evolving. In his acceptance speech, he said, "I needed this job more than it needed me." Chris knew it. That humility, that gratitude, it's why fans love him. RDJ's also a philanthropist. Through his Footprint Coalition, he's tackling environmental issues with AI and tech, showing he's not just about the glitz. He's a dad to 3 kids, Indio from his first marriage, and Exton, and Avery with Susan, and he's open about wanting to be a better father than his own was. His marriage to Susan is still rock solid, and she's been his partner in both life and business. But RDJ's not perfect. He's had controversies like that 2015 interview where he walked out after questions about his past got too personal.
You say we're promoting an interview, promoting the movie. I mean, obviously you're doing a promotional round of interviews, and that's why we're talking about the movie. But we also would like to talk a little bit about you, and I don't know how comfortable you are, talking about yourself at the moment.
You have as much time as anyone else will.
Yeah, well, okay, well then let me just ask you a few more questions, and you can answer them if you want to and not if you don't want to. I mean, well, I think we've got 3 more minutes on our agreement.
Your foot's starting to jump a little bit. You better get to your next question.
The reason I'm asking about the past is that you've talked in other interviews again about your relationship with your father and the role of all of that in the dark periods you went to and taking drugs and drinking and all of that. And I just wondered whether you think you're free of all of that, or whether that's still something.
I'm sorry, I really don't. What are we doing?
Well, I'm just asking questions, that's all.
Right.
Okay.
Bye.
I'm sorry.
And some fans debate his Tropic Thunder role, though RDJ said it was always about mocking self-important actors, not race. He owns his mistakes, learns, and keeps moving forward. So why do we love RDJ? For USA audiences, he's more than a celebrity. He's the guy who made us believe in superheroes again with Iron Man. He's the underdog who clawed his way back from rock bottom. His wit, his charm, his ability to laugh at himself, it's also American. We see ourselves in his flaws and his triumphs. Whether he's improvising a line that becomes a meme or saving the day in Endgame, RDJ feels like a friend we've grown up with. His impact goes beyond the screen. He's inspired countless people to face their own struggles, to keep fighting, to reinvent themselves. And at 60, he's not slowing down. Rumors are swirling about RDJ returning to the MCU as Doctor Doom. Can you imagine? Whether he's playing a villain or producing new stories through Team Downey, RDJ's next chapter is gonna be epic. So, what's your favorite RDJ moment? Is it Tony Stark's snap in Endgame? His banter in Sherlock Holmes? Or maybe that Oscar win? Drop it in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. If you love this deep dive, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more Hollywood stories. We've got more icons to cover, so who should we do next? Let me know.